Everyone, these are the IPL 4 qualifiers, last game in a round of 16. This is CLG.eu versus GBT. We're going into game number 2. CLG is up 1 game, and I'm Hat Person. With me as always is the Red Baron. We're getting right into this game. Very excited. We got an Urgot, we got a Brand, we got a Kog'Maw, we have a lot of popular champs, we have a lot of underused champs. Really excited to see how these two comps end up turning out.
Yeah, I mean, it should be pretty interesting. Urgot, I definitely think is a pretty strong pick, and I think most competitive players would agree. I think the big thing is that he's one of those people or champions that's kind of going away from the norm, and people are kind of scared, to do that. So GBT, going out there on a limb, we'll kind of see how it works for them. That bot lane should be pretty dominant, and I think the lane that I'm most excited to see, other than that bot lane, is top lane, and how all these lanes we can get in there. So it should be pretty interesting to see how he handles that matchup. And then, of course, mid lane, with Ahri versus Brand, Ahri definitely has the range advantage, and then still having that pick off. They both have great single target damage and disable. So there's probably there's a lot of potential for a lot of aggression there.
I like this spread from both teams for these potential level 1s. Like everyone's split off in pods, 2, 1, 2, just trying to. If they have every base entrance covered, they're no one's getting in here without without me knowing about it. It's interesting because they're both prepared for the invade. But when you're both getting ready to defend for the invade, no one can. It's like a standoff. I like it. And
I'm kind of surprised that GBT isn't actually invading to try and go after Maokai here, because that would definitely slow him down quite a bit. They have a slightly stronger level 1 team in my mind.
Yeah.
They do have a lot of aggression. I think the big concern is they want to have that early advantage in the lanes, and they're concerned that if they give up any early kills, the game's already over, and then they've lost this series. So. A little hesitant there. They are coming in now probably to steal the red up top for Riven there, which would be absolutely devastating for Irelia, since Riven already has all that damage. We'll see whether or not Udyr takes it or not. And they are trying to kind of slow down this blue because they don't know where they are. But we did see the ward earlier. I thought Janna placed a ward. No, yep. She didn't.
And any slowing down Maokai in the jungle by denying him blue hurts him immensely. He's really reliant on that blue to get the rest of the damage he's off to get that first jungle clear out of the way. And I also noticed that Udyr started Tiger and not Phoenix.
Yes.
So we're going for more single target damage on Udyr than the stick in the middle of the battle AoE fest that most Udyrs go. But Wicked right now top lane, I don't think we'd have the right approach here from Okade. I do not think we're going to be able to get this.
Yeah, and I think he kind of saw the direction that Riven entered this lane, knowing that Udyr and them went and took that red buff. There it was just confirmed by Snoopy checking it out. So, kind of expecting the early Udyr gank, since the gank presence will be so key in that lane.
Yeah. So top lane and let's see, top lane. So Riven is pushing a little bit. They're just, they're actually doing pretty well for themselves so far. Just Riven's already has a potion to damage. But we were talking a little bit during the break about bot lane. Actually, Riven getting a little bit more aggressive. Actually, really wants to get the minions pushed. Really wants to put Aurelia at her tower. But she has no ward. She has no data where Maokai's coming. But right now, mid Brand flashed in with the ignite on the Ahri, getting aggressive on Froggen, but not being able to finish the job.
Yeah, he actually didn't use the ignite. That's just his regular spell. But if he had picked up the stun,
that was not ignite. Yeah.
If he had picked up the stun, which he almost did, he already had her hit with the E. He flashed in trying to get the Q there. That would have been a kill, but just barely missing that stun. Yeah. So that could have been huge to get that early advantage in mid lane.
Yeah. But Ahri did start. Actually, both of them started out Boots potions, so they're looking to sustain a little bit longer than usual. They don't need the mana regeneration. I'm messing up for my words already today. We're only in game 2. Jeez. They don't need the extra mana regeneration just quite yet. They just want to be able to stay in lane. So right now, stun going off on Kog'Maw from Taric, and
wow,
Urgot actually get quite a bit of damage off on Kog.
He should have had a third there, and he just didn't throw it. That's kind of a little bit surprising.
Yeah.
But even so, you see the ranged harass that they have, and because Janna doesn't have a heal, it will be a very difficult lane. Kog'Maw probably could have actually gone cloth armor, but she definitely wants the movement speed to be able to run away from them if they're trying to engage. And I think the boots, not only for the sustain mid, but because they both have a lot of pickoff potential, it allows them to avoid those spell shots. Or those skill shots and not get picked off in that degree. We do have Udyr coming mid, but the excellent CV by Janna will keep track of him.
See, now I'm waiting for Josh to come back with another sign. It's like it's not a she, it's an it. Kog'Maw. It's like it's not a she, it's an it. It's a Kog'Maw. It's a thing. It's a bug thing. Slimy. I don't know.
Well, I don't think I didn't call Kog a she. Lie, blast, slander. But Wicked already doing an excellent job in this top lane. I'm surprised that neither of them went cloth armor, but I guess because of how much ganks could potentially affect this lane, they definitely want that mobility. But just really effective control so far, and with his sustain able to keep himself up, and then Riven never really getting any successful harass onto Irelia.
So we were talking during the break about the Kog'Maw versus Urgot, and Urgot will win the lane, but Kog'Maw will have better contributions to team fights.
Well, I think Urgot definitely still has significant contributions. The only thing is very late. Kog'Maw has a little bit more sustained damage. Urgot's definitely got a lot of bursts. They can pick people off. It's just different kind of team fights. I think it's really just that Kog is more of a standard kind of champion. We actually have Udyr coming in here, and then Wicked jumping right over him. Will get the stun, but able to get out effectively. Did use his flash as well, right immediately as he was stunned. So excellent job there avoiding it, but he definitely wants to get a ward out shortly.
Yep. And if I were Snoopy, I'd be eyeballing bot lane because GBT is really being aggressive bot lane. They just want to make sure Kog'Maw gets in there. Flash from the Udyr, trying to get the kill in here on Wicked, and that will do it, but at what cost? I'm not sure about that trade because here comes Snoopy, come right here, be able to defend the lane. And 1 for 1, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Well,
it's definitely in EXGBT's favor. They want to get Riven fed.
Yeah, and they did get
Riven does snowball.
And they did get the first blood.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't think they expected him to die. I definitely think that was a successful tower dive there.
Yeah.
But I guess kind of happy that she got the consolation prize.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, GBT got the first blood, so yeah, we'll say it was worth it for the extra 400 gold because extra gold's always good. So 7 minutes in, even in kills. GBT is a very minuscule gold lead at the moment, but they're continuing to be aggressive bot lane. Urgot wants to be able to push, and right now Brand is getting the ultimate down on Froggen. There's the ignite.
And you saw Froggen getting out of there with his ultimate because if he had stuck around...
Oh, he does. Barely able to get a charm. Misses Zarya just by a little bit.
If he had stuck around, then it would have bounced off those creeps, and that definitely would have been a kill for Brand. But it's pretty interesting. Brand definitely is very strong with harass, is winning the harass battle as long as he stays behind the creeps. Whereas if Ahri was able to kind of keep the creeps on his side and then use the long lane to zone Brand.
CLG's blue. Udyr's been spotted. Crepo just wandered on over. Mokade has nowhere to go. Tries to flash out, just got pincered in. That's unfortunate. That is just a little bit unfortunate for that Udyr.
Yeah, and it's actually that Cog, the blue buff there, will help him farm significantly, better.
Yeah.
Can just kind of spam the ultimate for that farm. Just changing some video real quick to fix some things.
So Yellow Pete did get the blue from that exchange, which was perfect because he was running on empty bot lane anyway. Now he can just go ahead and stay in lane for quite a large deal longer. Crepa doing pretty well himself as well.
And it's kind of interesting. Udyr is actually going for Wriggles, it seems. And I've seen that before, Tiger Udyr with Wriggles and then double Dorans. It does give you, some nice tanking potential early, but a significant amount of damage, particularly burst damage. And we see a lot there, both teams are going for single target damage to kind of burst people down. Here we're starting to see Riven's strength in lane, but I've seen, who was it? Sidco play it very effectively for Curse. So, it does have a lot of burst damage. We'll have to see how that works for them later. It does take you more items to get tanky than a Phoenix Udyr, but we actually have Froggen getting caught by Zaru here. Actually, Zaru taking a lot of damage. They're trying to get in this blue, and they will have the advantage here. We do have Maokai Twisted advancing in, but Froggen not able to get in. There he goes, jumping over the wall, able to pick up the kill.
Wonderful ult from Froggen.
Yeah, and I'm surprised they didn't actually go for that blue afterwards, but Maokai was low.
Oh, in the right bot lane, Urgot actually got the kill off on Crepo, just a little bit too far out. But the Yellow Pete does have the mana to fend them off in a 2v1.
Yeah, and the burst damage is just so high, and then if Urgot switches places with Janna, she doesn't have any escape ability. She's, all of her abilities are to push you away, Whirlwind and Monsoon. And when Urgot's already on your side that you're trying to escape to, then there's not that potential anymore. So.
Yep. And the Urgot ult, just by having it up, that's it's more of a threat to CLG. It's like CLG, you do not want to tower dive us while this crab has his ultimate. I love that crab skin too. It's so kind of boss enemy crab, very creepy, very very threatening. It's like, I'll pinch you, get you. So top lane, Riven being immensely more aggressive on Wicked, trying to bait out the ward.
I don't understand. Kiki's not using his abilities there. He probably could have gotten a lot more damage on Wicked while Wicked was out of position. Maybe he was concerned he was getting baited. And actually, we do see Snoopy coming up, like you said. And there it goes. We have the slow from Myrelia, and then the twisted advance. Riven does have a lot of survivability, though. He should be able to get out of there. Or she should be able to get out of there.
Wonderful CV also from Crepo, just to make sure that Kiki's was not going to get away scot-free from going through that bush. So wonderful support job as well. So bot lane, once again, GBT is still pushing up bot. I mean, I really think Snoopy should be visiting bot as opposed to top lane, because that was an unsuccessful. Well, we burned the flash, so it was still a successful gank, but it wasn't a kill. And I feel that Tarek and Urgot are significantly easier to secure kills on, because they're not as mobile. Granted, Tarek does have a stun, can only do so much if you're already in the twisted advance.
Yeah, though I don't know that they have enough damage output to kind of take them down. Cog here will get some nice harass onto Urgot, so Urgot is going to have to back out a lane. But even if Maokai had come in, I really find it difficult to believe that Yellow Pete or Crepo are going to be able to chase them down. So really, they're just looking to farm.
And even that, like, if you get the twisted advance in, Crepo can just once it flashes up, just go flash ahead, ult them backwards, buy so much more time to try and get a kill off someone on bot. Because I think let's take a little farm too, because I mean there's a slight lead from GBT, but it's nothing really that significant. But CLG actually is going to be going in for the first dragon.
Yeah, and I definitely think that EXGBT has the potential to engage here. We actually have Froggen going to get some nice damage onto Udyr, but it's not going to be anywhere near enough. And here they can come in, try and steal it. They do steal it, and then Janna ulting them out of there. Udyr is going to go down pretty quickly, but flashing away, and now CLG is going down. We do have Makler here on Urgot, going to pick up the kill onto Kog'Maw, and he's going to be able to pick up Wicked as well, as long as she doesn't get over that wall, but using his ultimate to prevent her from flashing. And then Froggen just kind of stuck in here. We'll be able to pick up the Riven kill, but actually flashing over the wall. So we'll run into Udyr.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure that Udyr wants to engage that. He will have a lot of burst damage, but Froggen will be able to get away most likely. Urgot going to try and chase him down. It's going to be pretty close, but I think he's probably going to be able to get away.
Froggen should be safe. I mean, he's get like a quick burst
I think
damage.
Urgot's actually going to get him.
No, doesn't do it. The slow was just enough for Froggen to get away. But they didn't have CLG didn't actually have vision in enemy jungle, so I mean Udyr really didn't have any way of knowing if that was warded. But if he decided to stay in that bush and attempt a recall, that could have been just a quick little added bonus for Froggen, but managed to see Ari coming and get away just in the nick of time.
I'm kind of surprised that they went in. Actually, we have Snoopy getting some nice damage on Urgot here. I'm kind of surprised that CLG went so aggressively for that dragon. They don't have the best dragon team. They do have the damage from Cog, and Janna is nice, so they can kill it pretty quickly from that perspective, particularly since Cog did go with that Wriggles, to give him some sustain against the aggressive Urgot lane. However, they weren't going to kill it, extremely fast, and then I definitely think that GBT has the advantage in the early game comp. They have, very aggressive early game team, as we saw there in that fight.
But CLG I feel they were at the big advantage because they managed to get a huge chunk of health off of Udyr, because Udyr, he is GBT's front man. He's going to be charging in with Bear and Turtle, trying to tank as much damage, but if he's already chunked it half, there's not a whole lot he can do. And right now Froggen actually getting the ult in on Zaru and Brand, and we'll just be able to melt him immediately. Nice.
Yeah, and you could see there the excellent burst that Froggen has on Ahri, and the big concern, though, even though they chunked Udyr, that did give them a slight advantage. Ahri, she's got kind of long cooldowns. She still had her ultimate up. As long as they could wait some, then she'd be fine. But you really try and pick people off in Ahri. You don't look for those long sustained fights. She's kind of similar to LeBlanc in that regards. You try and poke people down, pick people off, and get those single targets separated from the rest of the team. But actually, Keekless going to walk into that brush, and Snoopy going to get the twisted advance, popping him back. Going to get a lot of damage here. He flashes away, but they're going to be chasing down, and Wicked should be able to pick up this kill. One more Blade Surge will be able to do it. He's pretty close to getting out. Throws off the stun, but there he goes, able to pick up that kill. And then Urgot actually doing a ton of damage to Kog'Maw bottom as well. Nice
stuff. No, Wicked going to take the tank the tower, but I think Yellow Pete should not be sticking around here. The Urgot ult is not up. Taric ult isn't up either, but Taric does have the Ignite on him. So, just let the creeps tank the tower. Taric can just go in, stun, Ignite, and Yellow Pete would be gone. But he did decide to recall. He will be safe. And despite, the dragons and the kills, the gold is actually pretty even. So it looks like also Aurelia going to be going for, I think probably Frozen. We already have the Atmos, probably going to be going for Frozen Mallet next.
Yeah, that would be a pretty good decision. I think Wicked's the one who had said it. Wicked and Hotshot kind of agreed on this, that everyone used to get Triforce on Irelia, and once you build the Triforce, it is a really nice item, but the build-up is kind of slow. Zeal doesn't necessarily give you enough. I mean, it does give you a lot of movement speed. It's really nice, but I think they generally agreed that because she needs to get really tanky, it's kind of just a little bit too slow of an item, so Frozen Mallet would make sense from that regards. And they do have a lot of physical damage, so as long as Irelia, is engaging on Brand, she can just completely ignore magic resist and just look to, very aggressively pick Brand off, and then everyone else, won't be able to deal enough damage to her, so.
Yep. So Brand Ahri actually quite even in mid and creeps, but Ahri does have 301, has not died yet. Brand has actually died 3 times already. And Urgot going. Urgot has he's working his way to the Frozen Heart, I believe. He's got his tier already too, which is just must have on Urgot. Absolutely.
Yeah, along with the armor pen from Brutalizer. So.
Oh yeah.
We'll be able to deal a lot of damage. A lot of Urgots, I'm kind of surprised to see both Brutalizer and Tier. I mean, it is a very strong build going into that Manamune. A lot of Urgots that I've seen in competitive play actually build pretty tanky and ignore a lot of the DPS, but we actually have Froggen going to pick up another kill on Saru. There it goes. Udyr getting the stun, but able to get off that little dance there. I don't remember what her ult's called, but able to pick up the kill.
I've also noticed that GBT has decided to buy themselves 2 Wriggles, one on Udyr and one on Riven. So when I believe they're still apt. They're still have the good idea of being able to take a quick dragon or a quick baron if necessary.
Yeah, and Urgot doesn't provide you. He is pretty slow at taking, Dragon and Baron.
Yeah.
Actually, he's okay at Dragon because he does have the Q, but against Baron, it's not really as effective as someone like Kog'Maw. So that will help them out some. Yep. But we actually have CLG grouping up for this next Dragon again. I thought it had like another minute on it, but I guess I must be wrong. So CLG going to group up here. They are in position for this Dragon. There it goes.
And right now, GBT is
kind of split.
They're a little bit split. I mean, Riven's still mid, Brand backed. By the time they get here, Dragon's going to be gone unless Mokade can go ahead and steal it again.
Well, and they are able to zone them out here coming in. Janna has to use the ultimate, and it's not really that effective. We have a steal once again by EXGBT. Wicked going down very quickly, trying to pick off Brand. Is going to be able to get it? Yes. And so now we're chasing onto Yellow Pete here. He will flash away. Not really able to get very effective damage.
CLG
we do
split.
have him chasing after Ari and Maokai, though. There's the stun on the Froggen. Going to be flashing away, just getting lots of great burst damage in this long sustained fight. Pick up a number of kills, and it looked like EXGBT had won this fight, but then they're not able to capitalize on their early advantage. And then an ace for CLG, so...
Not too good.
Urgot was able to pick up Ari at the end there. She probably could have kited a little bit better and not grabbed that. But once again, a Dragon steal by EXGBT.
Yeah, but once again, it's a steal, but at what cost? And it just to be aced like that. I mean, it is a big hit to the morale, big hit to the team morale, knowing that in a team fight where they're trying to engage with a poke comp, that they cannot come out on top.
And that's actually one of the strengths of Ari is her mobility. And we saw there they had completely destroyed CLG. I mean, they had won that fight by a large margin, and then just they weren't able to engage onto Ari. They didn't have enough mobility to chase her down. And Ari picking up a number of kills there. Cog had flashed away, was safe. So
yeah, that's what happens sometimes. But even then, despite despite having the ace, the difference in gold is only 1K. It's incredible.
Right.
But that would not be possible if GBT was not stealing these dragons right out from CLG's nose. Otherwise, we would have a completely different story on our hands, and we may have, we and CLG probably would have already pushed into tier 2 towers by now. So I mean, GBT is doing a great job mitigating the lead that CLG is making for themselves, but they cannot keep this up forever, because eventually we're going to stop going towards Dragon and heading towards Baron. And if you're stealing Baron, granted you're going to have a better advantage in team fights, but they're now at a point where they cannot win the team fights. So they have to just stick with the comp, try and poke someone out like they're doing right now to Carapo. Janna has no choice but to burn the ult, and she will be focused under tower. That's a good kill. And
yeah,
didn't
really expect Brand there, but Froggen actually able to pick up a kill on Udyr mid in the meantime.
Yep.
But lots of burst damage. I mean, they will have that advantage throughout the game, picking people off. If it goes too late, then CLG definitely has a really strong late game team. Once Irelia is tanky enough, we saw her going down very quickly in that last fight. And then once they can keep Yellow Pete alive, that's going to be really key. We saw none of the fights so far, Kog'Maw hasn't really been able to, be very effective at dealing damage. They're able to interrupt Kog'Maw very effectively. So as long as CLG can keep him alive, allow him to sit in the back and deal some damage, that'll also be a big boon to them in team fights.
GBT needs to start wandering around a little bit. They need to start picking off players of CLG, recoup some of the gold, recoup some of the kills, possibly take the lead before next Dragon, or before we start hovering around, placing wards, and get ready to engage on Baron. Because right now, GBT not confident enough to win these team fights.
Yeah, they could potentially try and bait a Baron. It'll be actually interesting to see what they do, whether they try and go for a long laning phase, which is what I would kind of expect, because they do have the strength when they're all split. So that's also why if you get early towers, then yeah, it's nice. But they haven't really been putting a lot of pressure on these towers because they want these long laning phases, where Urgot can do well mid, Riven can do well top. And then they might actually just start moving around as a team and pushing down towers, but not allowing CLG to group up, just really quick pushes. And so that kind of a mobility where if they move back and forth, EXGBT moves back and forth, top lane, mid lane, bot lane, mid lane, Baron, it can draw CLG out of position. We actually have the flash in from Urgot. He's going to be able to pull Cog into the middle of the team, but they're safe underneath this tower. And we do have Maokai coming in as well now. They're going to be able to take down this Urgot. So kind of poor decision there. They were hoping to get the quick burst, but just a little bit extended too far. And already doing an excellent job mid, able to pick up the kill on Brand after getting that tower.
Yep, Janna just took the opportunity with Urgot coming in and just says, hey, you know what? I have my ult. You want to go for a ride? Sure, go this way. And there they all were. Became a 3v1 all of a sudden. Turn from a 3v2 to a 1v3 real quick.
Yeah, and Froggen's just a huge winner for his team. 10-1 right now. Just been absolutely dominant so far. Did have that, you know, early death to Brand, but past that, just complete control of the game with his mobility, and that's, you know, really great when you have a you know, it's pick-off team versus pick-off team. Ahri has the range advantage, has the mobility, so she's generally pretty safe, and it's been working out to their advantage. Riven trying to come down here, but, you know, there's no chance of an engagement there.
Yep, so CLG has extended the lead to about a 5k gold advantage. That's amazing, just, you know, just by taking out 2 towers. Simple as that, easy. So we do have the oracles on Taric. But a lot of that we don't even, you know, we see a few wards coming in from CLG. There are very offensive wards near the top jungle, but Taric is not really really all that keen on wandering outside of bot lane. So that's the thing. If you have an oracles, you need to be on counter rewarding duty. You need to be able to roam to see, you know, to try and kill as much information as you can. But right now, Shirley's being popped. Wicked comes in with the engagement here onto Taric. They want to get rid of that oracles, and they do. Aurelia is ignited, but the Janna ult will be able to heal.
Oh,
Wicked.
and Ahri's going to be able to pick off Udyr here almost certainly. There's a little bit of burst damage, throwing off the ignite as well.
Ignite will
One
do
more
it.
attack, there's the kill. But I'm a little bit surprised that CLG was able to win that fight, and it really goes to how farmed they are right now, because you saw Kog'Maw actually didn't do any damage that fight hardly. He just sat in the background and threw off his, you know, his ultimate, his artillery barrage, and that's all he did. He, you know, Kog'Maw is a single target DPS, but he wasn't using any of his damage. So, you know, even so, they were able to pick up the kill real quick. Irelia almost going down. But
yeah, and CLG has 2 Shurelias right now, which, you know, they want to get. If they need to get their poke, if they need to get their stun, single out their target, Shurelias is the way to do it. Get that extra movement speed and flash if you need it. GBT has none. They have no real movement options. They're on their way to building them. At least Taric is, but no one else is. So when it comes to poke comps now, because CLG has the movement, especially Ahri with the Shurelias and her ultimate, she's able to close gaps so quickly, just like that right there. She can go ahead, close the gap, get the taunt she needs to, get all the damage she needs to. CLG has now, just based on, if anything, just based on items alone, has the superior poke.
yeah, it's going to be really hard for them to deal with Ahri. You know, it's really just so fed at this point in the game.
Yeah.
A big thing you could have done early is, you know, try and control that blue a little bit better. You know, Udyr's going to try and get some damage on Wicked here, but you can see Wicked's already this strong and now going to be chasing down Udyr.
Wow.
Tanking that tower, doesn't really care. But yeah, if they could have controlled blue earlier, that could have helped them out some. They could, you know, still, if they could pick people off and then start to control the blue and start to control things like Baron, then yeah, they've got a huge potential here. And they do have a very strong, you know, team at picking people off, but Ahri, I don't know, with that kiting capability, just a little bit too strong.
And GBT's only real means of counter initiation is the Urgot ult, and wow, Livik actually being chunked quite a bit there. True damage, just a little bit too much. But yeah, the Urgot ult is really their only means of counter initiation, and that puts Urgot in such a huge, dangerous position. If you want to counter initiate on CLG's biggest charger, you have to sacrifice yourself. You have to put yourself in the middle of the enemy team in order to do it. And there we go,
wow.
flashing in. That's exactly what I'm saying. Once again, Krepo right out in front, being able to ultimate Valkyrie back, and already CLG has won this fight.
Yeah, I mean, that was really kind of a desperation move there, trying to pick off Froggen. Not able to do it. We'll probably see a surrender anytime now, because this game is basically over. They are going to be able to secure this Baron. Should be pretty safe there. We'll see whether or not they try and come in. But
there it is. That's a surrender. CLG.EU taking it 2-0 against GBT, and they will be moving on to the round of 8, where they will go ahead and face again.